Today's topic, as you have heard, is rewarding your member, how to make them valuable. And in the session, last one, presented by Tom Roberts, he mentioned created a quality club climate. And I'm just going to go into some of his notes about climate. The definition of climate is to enhance club growth and performance. Well, today, I want to focus on the word rewarding, highlighted in red. Some of you might wonder why climate? Why do we talk about climate all the time, right? Well, we know one thing about the climate is true. It's changing. It's not in our favor. Have everybody driven this past Wednesday? How bad the roads are? Have everybody experienced the winter weather in January? How bad the weather is? Yes, there are a lot of negative impact on it, presented by NASA, how the direction we're going towards. Not global warming, the term has changed to climate change because it's getting cold now, not warm anytime soon. So we know the climate is changing, but also the climate is changing, hence we need to adapt to it. We need to be flexible. If human beings as us don't follow through, learn how to adapt the changes, we won't survive. The same thing goes with Toastmasters, I believe. We believe Toastmasters is also changing as an organization since its establishment in 1924. That's 94 years of history here. And I'm not asking you to memorize all of this. These are available on the Toastmasters website. I'm just giving you a decade by decade rundown how long this organization has been, since its formation to the pathway. So this organization is changing. So to join these two topics together, I would like to first share with you some of the statistics. Everybody here doing accounting, finance? No? Sorry. Neither do I, I'm an engineer. But I deal with numbers all the time, graph, data, analysis. So it's good to look into some stats first. And I promise this won't be boring, but I want to give you a global perspective on how Toastmasters is, not just this club or the Dayton region. And then I will share some of my experience through some of my club visits, and then we'll walk away with some lessons, and towards the end, I will allow about 10 minutes of time for some discussions and question and answers. So without further ado, let's dive into the stats. This is give you a glimpse of the entire Toastmasters International Organization, how many clubs there are by country. As of July 1st, 2017, this is the last fiscal year for Toastmasters, the latest one. You can see the color, anything in red are the highest number. Anything in blue are the lowest number. And there's an interesting correlation here. Countries that are not speaking English has the least amount of clubs. Countries that are English speaking, such as the United States, Canada, Australia, has a huge number of clubs. So that got me thinking, is there issue with the language of membership retention? Is there the issue with why members don't show up in Toastmasters because English is the preferred language of choice in public speaking? We're going to a membership retention data by the district. This shows you how many members were retention. Look at the right on the bottom left-hand corner. Anything greater than 65% are showing blue. Anything less than 51% are light blue color. You can see countries that are English speaking has the highest retention rate. So that supports the number I have. Yes, people who speak English has the highest Toastmaster club formation rate. But they also get me thinking, is language the only obstacles in getting member in your club? Because people don't speak English as their first language. So looking further, and I discover a significant correlation on the next slide. This is about the club distinguished district status. For those of you who are not familiar with DCP, we have distinguished, we have select, we have president distinguished, different levels. Highest level you can see is in the red. It's interesting that countries such as China that don't speak English as their first language have the highest amount of president distinguished club status. Yet, look at us in the United States, we don't have that many here. And this is the last figure, last year. Why is that? Why is there a correlation such as that? With the exception of Western Europe, South Africa, and Alaska. That's kind of alarming too, nobody lives there. Right? I would like to take a journey up there too sometime. I'm sure people speak English there. It's no longer a Russian colony. So that gets me thinking, maybe I should start looking into different clubs. Looking to, is there a correlation between club status versus club languages. So I would like to run through them in a couple few slides on some of my visits that I've done in the past couple years since I arrived in Dayton. So some of my visits I want to highlight. First, I want to start locally here in the Dayton region. We are part of Division 8. We are one division, 30 clubs around. And some of the clubs that I visited are circled in blue. Catering is marked by a gold star. And the club I would like to highlight today, as some of you might know what that will be, is down in Miami Valley. And these are the clubs that I visited in the past 2 years as a guest, as a speaker, and also as an officer. During my experience here in Dayton, I began to find there's some correlations in different clubs who are successful, and there are clubs that are trying to get members to stay there. And today I would like to highlight a club that's not catering because I was a member here. That will give me a lot of biases. So in order not to do that, I will go away from catering, let's highlight a club outside of it. And guess which club I will be highlighting? Some of you are here sitting in this room, probably member. Miami Valley. Congratulations, Shiwei. And yes, you were on the picture here. Yes, down there. Why did I highlight Miami Valley Toastmasters? I visited them several times between the year 2016 and 2017 as an officer and also as a speaker. The thing that I find about this club, it's very dynamic, it's fun, it's engaging. Mr. Roberts talked about creating club quality and engagement. I think this club had what it takes to engage different audiences. And as a guest, I've seen them how to do members reaching out by asking questions to them, doing survey, even having activity outside the club. At the top right-hand corner, that is a picnic that one of the former members organizes it. So it's a great event. Another thing that sets them apart is they record everything, right, Shiwei?
Every speech.
Every speech, Shiwei, if in case everybody here don't know, Shiwei is a member of Miami Valley. He is also a videographer. This is unofficial title, but he's going above and beyond his call of duty, taking his camera, set it up, just like I set up a projector, and then record it. It's great. They have a YouTube channel, 26 subscribers as of yesterday.
Yeah, please subscribe.
Subscribe to Miami Valley, like and subscribe and click the notification button. You know how to do it. But I love the way how they record speeches. That's one of my things that take away. I can go back and visit it. I would like to see how I did well, what area of improvement I need to do, and also how dynamic the audience. Do they laugh? Are they having a fun time? You can hear that in the background, even though the camera's focused on me. So that's a takeaway I have from Miami Valley. They engage the audience well. They like to take things beyond not just having bi-weekly meeting, but having annual event, picnic, engagements, and have a very friendly atmosphere. I would like to ask the two members here of Miami Valley, what do you think about your club that makes yourself stand out? Can you give me a couple of examples?
Well, I can say personally, our club is very laid back, so it's more of a fun, friendly environment, and I thought it was very welcoming for someone that's not used to public speaking. It was a good environment to foster that skill more.
Do you think people like that atmosphere of friendly, fun?
I think
atmosphere?
more laid back is less intimidating for someone that's new to the
Okay.
organization.
You have heard what she just said, more laid back is less intimidating. A lot of new guests feel intimidated when we go to a Toastmaster club. They think it's another formal club. They had to dress up nice and had to show up and had to do all the things they haven't done before. Less laid back. You know, that's a good time, less intimidating. So that's a good takeaway. Any other comments from the members here in the club?
Well, I think when we have more speeches, more informal speeches,
Okay.
and the club environment gets kind of warmer, and sometimes when we have like only one speeches or maybe nobody sign up for speeches, then that'll be the time that's not that warm. But
Okay.
then it depends on the Toastmaster on that day. He or she still make the club climate warmer and everybody more engaged. So.
Okay. Thank you, Shiwei.
Thank you.
What he just talked about is the mood. As human beings, we're emotional. We have bad days, we have good days, and we have mediocre days. Sometimes one of those days hits us and we don't feel like coming up stage. What he said is able to put together that environment so people can relax. This is not another work meeting, and please don't be another work meeting. You don't want to go through that after working 10 hours a day. It's bad. So that's a good takeaway I had from Miami Valley. Thank you for sharing your experience there as well. I encourage people here to check them out. But an example that I visited, and there are many other clubs here that I also paid a visit, and they have different style of meeting. The next club I would like to highlight is in the Cincinnati region. There are 5 divisions there and about 100 clubs based on the data I have researched. And these are not all the clubs, because you notice at the north, I cut off at 275. Anything north of it still belongs to Cincinnati, even though I didn't show it because it's too cluttered. There are tons of clubs in the downtown region, but the club that I visited are outside of the downtown area during my walk. Several of these clubs are within driving distances, about 15 minutes from here, approximately. And all of them are unique because they market themselves very well. One of the clubs that I'm not going to highlight, but I would like to mention, number 34 that you see on the slide is called the Cincinnati 472. They have been around for 71 years. 71 years. That's why the number is only 3 digits. That club did very well because they are the first club that show up on a Google search result, because their name is called Cincinnati Toastmasters. When people are new to the city, they're going to type that name in. Other clubs use different names, so the SEO end of it helped them to boost their member. Now the club I would like to highlight today is a little bit unique. It is not a traditional club, but it's rather different because they don't necessarily just speak English. Remember I talked about language. It's the Cincinnati Toastmasters Club. They met at a toy factory. This is a place that they do non-profit work to set up for kids to make toys, but they also do a lot of areas in terms of participation. The reason that I'm drawn to this club is the cultural awareness of the Hispanic population. And also I would like to, hablo español un poco, would like to speak Spanish soon. I would like to learn a third language for me. These clubs may be small, but they're very dynamic. They help members to grow and they reward them. See the trophies they had. This is during one of their contests. T-shirts. The guy holding a gavel, I know him pretty well too. He's very fun. And some of the members here are Hispanic origin. Not all of them are, but some of them are. And they're trying to get more members with their origin involved. People who would like to learn to speak Spanish as the second language, or third, or fourth, or would like to interact with the Hispanic population, and vice versa. People from Hispanic background want to speak English better. You will be aware in Cincinnati there are a lot of cultural diversity down there and different activity going on. And some of their sessions, I like this format because it's small, it's very close-knit, and the way how they do the language, they speak English too, but they also have Spanish portion that's read out from a script. I have not yet seen anybody memorize it yet, but it's difficult to learn a new language. Their evaluation though, they have 2 versions as well. One is for English, one is for Spanish. The word of the day, one in English, one in Espanol. So it's 2 different languages that really draws me. And the thing that attracts a lot of members to grow, besides their unique, is how they help members to reach out to the community. They are not necessarily on the path of getting DTM per se. They do have a few experienced members there, but they would like to get more members involved doing more community outreach. Now, one good example that I had is their involvement with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce in Cincinnati. They actually spent the effort there going through networking event and being sponsored by the Hispanic Chamber. It's a great deal for the club. I have the opportunity to go to one of their networking events down there, and they do a lot of nonprofit outreach. They also are trying to reach out to the different diversity groups in Cincinnati to help them to speak better, to communicate better. So by helping the community back, you're rewarding the community and providing a resource that they should join you, they should participate. That is the reward portion of it that I would like to highlight on my speech today. How do you reward back? And they reward back to the community, not necessarily themselves. They care about the community. So that's my observation at that club. The third and the last one is in my hometown. far away, 8,500 miles away in Hong Kong. It's part of District 89. They have 5 divisions, and it encompasses Hong Kong and Macau, which is on that side, I'm going to show you. And China is the north, in case you know geography. But there are a lot of clubs, 5 divisions, but approximately 200 clubs in District 89. That's a lot. Now, I didn't manage to visit all of it. It's too much. I only have a few weeks to visit there. I did want to highlight one club that I think it stands out. It's located in downtown district, in that island that you see with a bunch of dots. That's Hong Kong Island. That's the financial district. A lot of people work there. A lot of people have businesses, and this club is focused on business professionals in Hong Kong. The club I want to highlight is called the Hong Kong Achievers Toastmaster Club. And it's interesting, they call themselves Achievers. And guess what I respond when I speak up there? I told them, you guys are overachievers. That's a compliment. No, it's not offensive. Yes, I compliment them a lot to tell them how they did it. This club being around for a long time as well, over a decade. Most of the speakers don't speak English as the first language, but they use English in their business. They use English in their education. A lot of them return, study after studying abroad, such as United States, Canada, or Europe. They come back to Hong Kong to work, to be employed, and to start a business. But they want to learn how to speak better, and this is the English-speaking club. There are also Chinese-speaking club as well, and some of the brochure that I highlighted here on the left side are in Chinese. This line means I am a speaker, the top in red, and these are kind of the advertisement they had, the PR, why should you join us, why should you be involved. The thing that gets me noticed in this club is how dedicated the members are. There are approximately 75 members in that club. Average meeting size is about 50 people per meeting. But they schedule a lot of speakers. The meeting runs 3 hours, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And the one thing I began to discover is they don't have any lunch meeting because people in Hong Kong are so busy, they don't have time to eat even. Yes, that's why I come here. And there's a reason behind that too. But people do want to spend time, and this become an avenue, a family for them, a shelter, kind of like a shelter outside of the world for them to relax. Even during relaxation, they have an average of 3 speakers, 7 table topics, and they not only evaluate the speeches, they also evaluate the table topics. Have anybody here been to a club that evaluate table topics? Okay, so that's
It was in the Philippines.
Philippines. So do you see them doing a good job on table topic? Is it different than a speech? Or?
They had a formula for the structure
Okay.
of their table topics, and the process was designed such that if your supervisor was to ask you a question, that you would have the structure of how to do the 2-minute response to them. So
Okay. There's an outline.
they had an outline of
Okay.
here's how you should conduct
Interesting.
it,
So,
which was a
structure.
mini speech,
Okay,
but
so it's a structure, yes. I did give a table topic there. But they did evaluate very well. One thing that I noticed from those evaluations, since we talked about evaluation a little bit in the last session by Tom Roberts, is they are incredibly positive because they don't speak English as a first language. They want to try their best, not just to learn it, but to learn how to speak effectively. And that's what I take away from this is they have strategy, they have structures, they have ideas how to become a better speaker. A good example is they actually analyze former world champion Toastmaster, how do they speak? This is one of the slides, how they presented it, about why speaking less is more powerful. If you think about it, they're actually going to how many words this
Wow.
former speaker did back in the last 4 years. How long did they speak between semi-final and final contest? And if you notice there's a pattern, as you approach the final contest, you speak less. So they're actually going to that drill. So that's the reason I enjoy, because there's a lot of quality behind it. They focus on how to achieve better, hence the name Achievers Club. So this is a type of club that's good for advanced Toastmaster, people who would like to learn, but not necessary for people who are new to the club. They do have other areas, other clubs involved for newer guests that I haven't visited yet in the Kowloon area, which in this region, that's where I used to live, in the peninsula. Those are the clubs that focus more on newer members, people who are new to the area, and some of the bilingual clubs. Mandarin Chinese, Cantonese Chinese. Anybody know Chinese has different dialects? Mandarin, Cantonese are the two big ones. There's other things as well. So they have to learn how to speak in different languages. That adds an additional challenge to Toastmaster. But by adding that additional challenge, I've become to believe that language is not a barrier to communicate. It's actually a tool for you to reach out to different groups. And that's the thing that rewards me. That's the thing that rewards people who look into diversity, inclusion. You heard that term a lot in HR. How do you actually live out that? That's where Toastmaster comes in, and that's what makes them difference. So that's my highlight in Hong Kong. Now let's talk about some lessons here. What can you take away from all of this? Well, first you need to understand yourself. Why you're here? Why you're in Toastmaster? What are you here to do? Are you here to speak? Are you here to network, to learn? And also, are you here to improve yourself better? And the next thing, after understanding why you're here, figure out what you can offer to the people. What's your experience, knowledge? I know every one of you here, whether you hold officer roles or not have any officer experience, had individual skill sets, knowledge, and experience. May not be in speaking, but you have something else you can offer to them as a trait. So kind of like working in an organization, what can you provide value to the whole company? And also, the last but not least, how do you deliver that through actions, right? You have to do the things, you have to participate, volunteer, engage, and sometimes mentor. That's what the session Pamela is talking about. Mentor your members. How do you provide bonuses to them? What can you offer to them, and what can you deliver? Second point here is understand your members. A lot of clubs do surveys. This is one of the forms that I cut it out at the top on the Toastmaster International website. Find out what do they want to get, what's their goal, and some of them may not have it, so you have to help them, prompt them, say, talk to an individual, hey, welcome to this club, thank you for being here tonight, what do you think about it? After those conversations, ask them, what do you want to get out of it? But some of them might want to say, yeah, I want to speak. Some of them will say, my boss wants me to be here. Some of them will say, I want to look good in a quarterly review, and that's fine. Understand what's their goal. It's very important. In Catering Toastmaster, we have a program here that we keep track of new members. We keep these surveys in an electronic database. So we review it on every quarter basis, like a quarter review. So we actually go back and follow up with those members new members especially, who join us, and assign them with mentor or give them different direction if necessary. So that's the second point. The third one is create your club climate. And Tom talked about creating climates already in the last session, but this is a high-level view. You have logistics, and you talk about this. It's physical climate. Where you've been meeting at, what time is it, how long you're meeting. Tools is also important, like the projector. Those are tools. Some people might want to use it. Video camera. Then you also have structures. What are the roles and responsibility? How many of you here use the Free Toast host as your database here? Do you realize the Free Toast host can bring out an agenda? Okay. Do you realize Free Toast host can use that to remind members to sign up? So that's a tool. Some of the clubs here use a spreadsheet. That's fine. But do you keep track of it? Do you keep track of what the roles are? Who are the evaluators supposed to do? Who are the table topics? Especially for newer member. Because appearance matters, especially when guests shows up. And if they realize the club doesn't know what they are doing, it's unlikely they will ever come back. It's just what goes around on that. And third, you have dynamic. And the round table format is like what we have right now today, in a round table, very close quarter, but very supportive. We can do a lecture style. You can also do more conversational, like a dialogue. It's good for feedback. And some clubs do that. It's more conversational. So whatever format you have. Last but not least, and the most important, is the feedback. And other sessions, they talk about evaluations today. I'm not going to go into that. But there are other areas you can do, such as education moment. You can do it before the speech, the mentoring part. And the last one is very important. And one of the questions raised up in the last session is about giving them the space, giving them the time to pay attention to them. Too often we don't do this. We go to a club, we speak, finish agenda, sign up, and bye. Have a nice week. Nobody follow up. Nobody give individual attention. That's one flaw that I began to find in a lot of clubs, especially in the United States. since we're all preoccupied, we have a busy schedule, we have commitment, we don't do that. And that's something that we need to improve ourselves a little better, especially for guests. If they feel like they're not being attended to or recognized, then perhaps this is not the right place for them. It's important to give them individual attention. And I'm not saying spend a lot of time with them. You can space out those time. You can do it through email, through phone, or you can do it outside the club before the meeting, take them out for dinner or lunch. There are ways you can do this to give them some attention, to make sure they feel significance, to make sure they have a voice, not just when they're speaking. And the third part is celebrate achievements. This is important. You have to learn how to celebrate. A lot of us always focus on the days and drills, but what do you do when you actually accomplish something? These cakes are actually cupcakes baked by one of the members at the Miami Valley Club, you guys know. She's actually a cake baker, professional cake baker. She printed all these logos out in individual cupcakes.
I have to mention that this is
Yes.
against the rules.
It is against the rule.
Yeah, just to let you know.
Sorry.
But I didn't see those.
Okay, I'll throw on. Yes, that's copyright infringement there, but you can be creative. You can design your own logo
Yes.
if you cannot use
You can
Toastmasters.
put TM on it or something.
Yes,
Yeah.
but yes, don't violate the laws, but
If you do it in M&Ms, I'm sure they'll appreciate it.
But again, just example to show dedication and ribbons. Kathy mentioned ribbons, giving out award. One thing I would like to see more for ribbon is ribbons in different language. Is that available on the Toastmasters store?
Yes,
don't
they
know.
are.
There you go. So maybe different type of ribbon can be made out for guests, for speaker, for evaluator. Some clubs do it, some don't, and it depends on the nature of the clubs. Also give them a handshake and recognition from the president. That's important. And when somebody win a contest, try to celebrate with them, you know. That's Noah Weaver. He represents Kettering last fall and win the fall contest and went all the way to the district. So giving them those support, every small thing counts towards helping them and also towards them helping you. Think about this. This is a two-way street. So the takeaway I had, and also the takeaway that I hope to provide it to you all today, is to develop this culture of 3 R's. You may have heard about this already, but how do you imply that in your club? Do you value your club? Do you applaud the members when they go to speak? Do you appreciate the effort? These are basics, but there's area that you can do on each categories during a club meeting or even outside a club meeting that you can reward them. And reward doesn't necessarily have to mean monetary incentive. We all know Toastmasters is a nonprofit organization. So what can you do through non-monetary incentive to give it back to your member? It could be recognition, it could be a letter from the district director or even the president. It can also be a letter to an employer, and a lot of clubs are doing that now. When you accomplish an award, you send a letter to the employer to, hey, such and such individuals achieved that through our organization. And within the letter, it has a brief paragraph on what Toastmaster is and what can help and all of that, and go back to the member itself. So it helps. Think about, put yourself in the member's shoes. That's what this 3R culture means. Put yourself in their shoes. It's not about you. It's always about them. And repeat and listen. That's the area that I didn't put there. Listen is very important. Too often we talk. We don't even have time to listen to other people, what they say. Make sure you show initiative, write it down, and appreciate them. So this is kind of my summary here, and I want to leave some time now for some discussion. I would like you, some of you, to share your experience in Toastmaster, whether you're new to the club, existing officer, experienced Toastmaster, it doesn't matter. What's your experience like? And if you would like to get more information from me regarding diversity thing, I'm happy to connect with you. These are my contact information. Also have tons of business cards I'm going to hand out if you're interested. So I would like to set a talk about this time now, open the floor to hear from you. What's your takeaway in your each club, if you don't mind sharing? Thank you.